My beautiful people, before we begin, I need you to take one slow breath with me. Inhale and exhale. Some conversations are easy to have some words float from the mouth like feathers. But some conversations sit in the chest like stones. This is one of those conversations. Someone confided in me yesterday about something that happened to her granddaughter a few months ago. Her granddaughter was only 14 years old. 14. I want you to imagine her, not as a headline, not as a statistic, and not as a victim, but as a beautiful, joyful 14-year-old girl. Imagine her laughing with her teammates at the Y, playing a game, moving freely through a place where a child should have been safe. Imagine her taking an ordinary bathroom break, thinking about nothing more frightening than getting back to the game. Then, according to the story shared with me, a man followed her, he threatened her with a gun, and he sexually assaulted her. I will not describe what he did in graphic detail. Her pain is not entertainment. Her trauma is not ours to consume. But I will ask you to understand what was taken in those moments. Not her worth, because no one can take that. Not her dignity, because it still belongs to her. But her sense of safety, her trust in ordinary places, and perhaps the easy certainty that the adults and walls around her could keep danger out. One moment she was a child playing a game. The next, she was being asked to survive something no child should ever have to endure. And as I carry that story, another story came back to me from years ago. A friend told me that her 14-year-old daughter had been kidnapped in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. An Amber Alert went out while people searched for her. She was held in an abandoned house for 4 days and 5 nights. When she was finally found, her mother said that she had been beaten and abused so badly that they could hardly recognize her. She was in profound psychological distress. Therapy continued for years, her mother said. But life never simply returned to what it had been before. Again. 14 years old. 2 girls, 2 families, 2 lives divided into a before and an after. Now I want you to do something difficult. I want you to put yourself near their shoes, not to pretend you can fully know their pain, but to refuse the comfort of looking away. Imagine being a child who closes her eyes and is suddenly back in the room she escaped. Imagine being a mother or grandmother whose phone rings and whose whole world changes before the call ends. Imagine wondering whether your child will sleep tonight, whether she will eat, whether she will blame herself, whether she will ever laugh without first looking over her shoulder. Imagine the helplessness of loving someone so much and discovering that your love cannot erase what happened. Violence does not strike one body and stop. It sends shockwaves through parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, classmates, teammates, and communities. A mother may replay every decision she made that day. A father may feel rage he does not know where to put. A sister may become afraid to go out alone. A grandparent may pray through the night. A family can begin orbiting around appointments, court dates, nightmares, medications, silence, and questions with no satisfying answers. And still, at the center, is a girl who deserves to be more than the worst thing someone did to her. So let me say this first, clearly and without condition. If you have been raped, assaulted, abused, trafficked, threatened, controlled, or violated, it was not your fault. It was not your clothes. It was not the time of night. It was not the drink. It was not the smile. It was not the relationship. It was not the fact that you froze, went quiet, complied, or could not fight back. It was not because you trusted someone. The responsibility belongs to the person who chose to harm you. Consent is not the absence of a scream. Consent is a freely given, informed, ongoing yes. A person who is threatened unconscious, intoxicated, beyond capacity, manipulated, coerced, or too young to consent, has not given permission. A husband does not own his wife's body. A boyfriend is not owed access. A date is not a contract. A past just does not erase a present, no. And silence is not consent. Freezing is not consent. Fear is not consent. Survival is not consent, no. And silence is not consent. Freezing is not consent. Fear is not consent. Survival is not consent. This is not rare. We would like to believe these are isolated nightmares, but the numbers refuse to let us hide. In the United States, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that more than 1 in 5 women has experienced attempted or completed rape in her lifetime. Nearly half of women have experienced some form of contact sexual violence. Globally, the World Health Organization estimates that nearly 1 in 3 women has experienced physical or sexual violence, most often by an intimate partner. 1 in 3. Look at 3 women you love. Do not assume you know which one carries a story she has never told. Teenagers are not protected by youth alone. The CDC reports that about 1 in 10 US high school students who dated experienced sexual dating violence in the prior year. Women and girls with disabilities face even greater vulnerability. LGBTQ plus young people, Indigenous women and girls, migrants, people experiencing poverty, and those cut off from support can face heightened risk or greater barriers to being believed and helped. The numbers are not merely numbers. Every digit has a face. Every percentage contains birthdays, favorite songs, unfinished homework, interrupted dreams, and families trying to put language around the unimaginable. And many survivors never report what happened. Some fear retaliation. Some depend financially on the person hurting them. Some worry they will not be believed. Some have been told that protecting a family's reputation matters more than protecting a child. Some fear police, immigration consequences, public exposure, or punishment from their own community. Some are too young to name what happened. Some carry shame that never belonged to them. But silence should never be mistaken for absence. Violence is more than a bruise. When we say violence against women and girls, we must name the whole landscape. It is rape and sexual assault. It is domestic violence, hitting, strangling, threatening, stalking, humiliating, isolating, monitoring a phone, controlling money, sabotaging birth control, forcing pregnancy, or preventing medical care. It is trafficking, exploiting another person's vulnerability for profit, sex, labor, or control. Trafficking does not always look like a stranger pulling someone into a van. It can begin with affection, gifts, promises, a job offer, a place to stay, or someone online who slowly separates a young person from everyone who might protect her. The United Nations reports that women and girls remain the overwhelming majority of detected trafficking victims exploited sexually, while child trafficking has been rising. It is forced marriage. It is genital mutilation. It is image-based sexual abuse. It is harassment that makes a woman calculate where she parks, how she walks, whom she calls, what she wears, and whether appearing rude is safer than appearing friendly. It is a girl learning to hold her keys between her fingers before she is old enough to drive. It is a woman pretending to be on the phone, so a stranger will leave her alone. It is a mother teaching her daughter how to survive dangers her son may never be taught to notice. And it is the daily exhaustion of being told that fear is an overreaction until something happens, and then being asked why she was not more careful. Women are told, be pleasant, but not inviting, be attractive, but not tempting, be independent, but do not make him angry, speak up, but be prepared to have your character placed on trial. Enough. The question is not why she walked there, trusted him, stayed, froze, returned, or waited to report. The first question is, why did he believe he had the right to harm her? The next question is, what are we doing to stop the next person from making the same choice when home is not safe? Domestic violence often does not begin with a punch. It may begin with attention that becomes possession, concern becomes surveillance. Jealousy is renamed love. An apology follows an explosion. The person who caused the fear becomes the person offering comfort, and the cycle tightens. People ask, why doesn't she just leave? But leaving can be the most dangerous time. She may have children, no money, no car, no private phone, no safe address. She may be threatened with losing custody, being deported, being exposed, or being killed. She may still love the person who is hurting her. Trauma does not obey the simple logic of people watching from outside. So do not ask, why did you stay? Ask, what made it difficult to leave? Ask, how can I help you become safer? And if someone confides in you, resist the urge to take over. Listen, believe. Do not interrogate. Do not force a police report, confrontation, or immediate departure unless emergency action is necessary for safety. Help the survivor identify options, restore choice wherever violence is stolen. Say, I believe you. Say, this was not your fault. Say, you do not have to decide everything tonight. Say, what would feel supportive right now? Those words can become the first boards in a bridge back to herself. When violence creates a pregnancy, now we must enter another difficult room. Sometimes sexual violence results in pregnancy. And when it does, the survivor may face a decision that no stranger can fully understand from a distance. She may decide to continue the pregnancy. She may decide to place a child for adoption. She may decide to have an abortion. Every path can carry emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, and lifelong consequences. The moral weight of that decision does not justify taking the decision away from her. For nearly 50 years, Roe v. Wade, decided in 1973, recognized a federal constitutional right to abortion. Although that right was regulated and later modified by other decisions, on June 24, 2022, the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization overturned Roe and Planned Parenthood v. Casey, ending federal constitutional protection and returning abortion regulation to elected governments. That legal sentence sounds tidy. Its human consequences are not. As of April 2026, 20 states had abortion bans or early gestational limits in effect. 9 had no rape or incest exception. Even where an exception exists on paper, reporting requirements, short deadlines, lack of providers, fear of prosecution, and vague legal language can make it nearly impossible to use. Consider the 10-year-old rape survivor from Ohio who, shortly after Roe was overturned, had to travel to Indiana for abortion care because Ohio's then enforced 6-week ban had no rape or incest exception. 10 years old. A child who needed protection was made to cross a state line for care. Consider Amanda Zarowski in Texas. Her water broke at 18 weeks in a pregnancy she desperately wanted. But doctors could not intervene while fetal cardiac activity remained because they feared the state's abortion law. She developed sepsis before receiving care, and later described lasting harm to her health and fertility. Consider Kate Cox, also in Texas, who learned that her wanted pregnancy involved trisomy 18 and serious risks to her health and future fertility. She sought court permission for an abortion. After legal reversals and threats of enforcement, she left Texas to receive care elsewhere. These women were not careless. They were not using abortion casually. They were families facing medical crises while doctors and lawyers tried to determine how close to death a patient must be before help becomes legally safe. A law may contain an exception to save the life of the pregnant person. But medicine cannot always draw a bright red line between sick enough and not yet dying. When clinicians fear prison, fines, or the loss of their licenses, delay itself can become policy. And let us be clear, abortion is not only about rape. A woman's right to bodily autonomy cannot depend on whether she can prove she was violated enough to deserve it. A woman may seek an abortion because contraception failed, because a pregnancy threatens her health, because of a devastating fetal diagnosis, because she cannot safely carry another pregnancy, because she is escaping abuse, because she cannot support a child, or because she knows that continuing the pregnancy is not the right choice for her life. People of good faith can hold different moral and religious beliefs about abortion. Some believe life begins at conception. Some believe abortion is morally wrong. They have the right to live by those beliefs in their own lives. But personal conviction should not become forced bodily service for someone else. The right to choose does not force anyone to have an abortion. It allows each person, guided by her conscience, health, faith, family, and medical professionals, to make the decisions she must live with. Choice also means respecting the survivor, who continues a pregnancy after rape. No one should pressure her toward abortion. Either bodily autonomy means the decision is hers. Not the rapists, not the governments, not the churches, not the commentators, and not ours. A question about life. Now, my beautiful people, I need to ask a hard question. How can some leaders call themselves pro-life while fiercely defending nearly unrestricted access to firearms, even as women and children live under the threat of gun violence? The contradiction becomes unbearable when the same political voice demands that a woman surrender control of her body in the name of life, yet treats even modest gun safety measures as an intolerable surrender of freedom. In the first story I shared, a gun was allegedly used to terrorize a 14-year-old child into submission. So whose freedom mattered in that moment? The man's freedom to possess a weapon, or the child's freedom to be safe inside her own body? This is not an accusation against every person who opposes abortion or supports the Second Amendment. Many hold nuanced beliefs, support responsible gun ownership, care deeply about women and children, and work sincerely to reduce violence.